Go, here we go. Everton is the best. We are. Hello, good afternoon. It is Monday, the 25th of September. Everton have won a Premier League game of football. Jack, it feels. I'd forgotten what this feeling was like. You have to go back to, was it May the 28th when Everton last won a Premier League game?
Of the season, yeah.
Something like that. But my word, it feels good when you win a Premier League game of football.
As the sun's shining, the children are playing in the street, people are skipping down the road. There's just happiness in the air, isn't it? It feels like the world is well and truly healing.
Yeah.
How Everton have finally got 3 points.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think there's a healing taking place within the world. Oh, and there's me. Tremendous. So, I mean, I've literally just looked. The first comments jumped out at me. And I hate the way Evertonians do this. Some. It does me head in. And the Blues is a good lad. He's a good lad. Sometimes he's a bit fixed, but he's a good lad. But the way I've just seen it. Get in there. Brentford was shocking. So the only reason Villa beat Everton at Villa Park was because Everton was shocking. The only reason Arsenal beat Everton last week because Everton was shocking. Teams don't win football matches anymore. The opposition, particularly us, if we win a game, it's because the opposition were terrible. That's it. That's the only bit of negativity I'm having in this whole bit. It's because it's a Monday and we've won a game of football.
Yeah, it's not even getting into all that. You know,
No.
Brentford weren't at the best, but so what? I don't care how good they were.
Weren't they at the best, or did Everton make them not at the best? Because that's...
Well, just that we did shut them down efficiently, didn't
Yeah,
we? And we'll
absolutely.
get more into it on the final word, I'm sure. But the midfield was so well organised. You know, we've been critical of the midfield the last few weeks, haven't we? So the lack of definition in that sort of part of the pitch, and it was so much better at the weekend. So yeah, Brentford were poor, but you've got to look at, okay, how much have we shut them down? You know, Mbuemo's their best player. We kept him quiet, and that was through our tactics. You know, Onana was quite often tasked with going over to their right-hand side and shutting them down. You know, we kept their best player quiet. That's probably why they look poor.
There might be a disagreement in the room, but he had a good game against them, didn't he?
I think he's had two quite decent games back-to-back now, hasn't he? You know, I'm not trying to get too carried away because, you know, he's got his back catalogue of not-so-brilliant performances, but...
Back catalogue? You've said that like he brings that with him. So like things, this is my back catalogue of games when I haven't done great. He's a defensive fullback. It's all he is. People need it's what he is. He's not a Luca Dean flying forward, whipping crosses into the box. And yet on Saturday he had a couple of good breaks down that left. But more often than not, he likes to go up against someone who he can just fix on and go, right, it's me and you. And that's when he's at his best, I think. I think when you're asking him to do more expansive stuff, he doesn't do it brilliantly, but
he did turn into Mick O'Dino at one point, though. Spun one of them, took it past, put a tempting little ball in the box.
And he won a cross second half on another marauding run. So, fair play to him. But what I thought was good, Jack, was and again, like you say, we'll get into that in the final way, but I just thought, right from the word go on Saturday, Everton were on it. They were on it. They were straight onto them. And the week before against Arsenal, for whatever reason, we give them the ball, and right from the kick-off, and we're just like...
The intensity weren't there.
Everyone
last week,
said it, even in commentary at the weekend, they were talking, going, Everton weren't even participants in that Arsenal game. And they were right. So you can make all the excuses you want for that, but on Saturday, they were right on it. And you'd have to give the manager credit. You'd have to give the coaches, the players deserve the credit. And obviously our fans were outstanding as well. And They got the the just rewards, didn't they?
Yeah, and the fans have had a lot of compliments off Brentford fans as well, saying, you know, they really made the place rocking at the weekend as well. And, you know, a bit was made about the atmosphere at Goodison at Arsenal the week before and how flat it was. But if you look at how poor this team have been in recent years, and then how flat the actual performance itself was against Arsenal, of course, people aren't going to be up for that. This isn't Europe where, you know, people stood up singing for 90 minutes, regardless of result or performance. It doesn't work like that in English football. It's reactions, it's peaks and troughs, isn't it? And there was no peaks. The weekend against Arsenal, so of course the atmosphere is going to be a bit dull, not really getting up there. Against Brentford, the team, you know, going to use some cliches here, but they fought for the badge. You know, they were passionate, they were pressing with intent. It was a performance that's easy to get behind. And when they gave the fans that, the fans responded. So, it does show the fans will back the team quite happily. They just need to be given a little bit of something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, particularly at Goodison, it hasn't been a good place for a few years for in terms of winning games. I mean, I'm not putting that on the fans. I mean, the team hasn't won enough home games, and that's why that little bit of the intimidation from Goodison Park has gone at the moment, where that was the thing that was strong for us always. Moyes have built that up brilliantly. We've had it all through our history, of course we have, but we have lost it the last few years, and you can't expect, like you said, the crowd to. We don't have like 6 or 7 designated men or women facing the street end, bouncing with flags and megaphones like they do in Europe and elsewhere. So everything in the atmosphere comes from what's happening on the pitch, and we were poor against Arsenal, let's be honest. But on Saturday we were engaged right from the word go, and what they did, I said in the aftermatch stuff at the weekend, was that set the bar. Now, them players can do it. They proved it against a very good side. Only their second home defeat in a year or something, whatever. And yeah, I think it was April. I think the last time they lost. So we've got to build on that now. They've got to use that as the bar, and we're getting people back. We saw Jack Harrison playing 45 minutes for the 21s on Friday night, so he'll come back into contention as well. It made a huge difference. Again, we'll talk about it on the final word, but having Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming off the bench, Beto, I thought he was a bit unlucky to come off it as early as he did, but he'd give them a bit of a, he'd been a focal
bounced
point.
Bounced them around.
He should have scored. The one he clipped over the keeper, he should have scored, but I thought he did well. He won. I think he won the most aerial duels at the weekend, or the second most headed duels, him and Tarkowski. In the Premier League, so he was a focal point for us, and then to have the quality of Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming on. Everton haven't had that. If you think about it, when was the last time Everton had a sub coming on, a centre forward substitute coming on? That was as good, if not, you could argue even better maybe, than the striker he's replacing, who's already of a good quality. It's not like having Maupay and bringing Beto on. There's a difference there for me in what they do.
Having that maintained
but having the
level.
same level, if not, maybe you could argue a touch even more refined, Dom, for Beto. And that to me made a big difference.
Yeah, I genuinely can't think of a time, to be honest. Probably have to go a bit further back before I was born. To think of a time, I had two good centre forwards and one's coming off the bench, maybe there's one early 2000s, but I certainly can't think of one. But no, one thing you were definitely right about as well is it has set the bar, because not only did they work so hard, but they were intelligent. They look like a smart, well-coached football team. One thing we've analysed quite a lot this season is Decore's position, and at times he's went from being last season an attacking midfielder, he'll make runs off the striker, to sort of just being quite a stationary second striker. That was changed at the weekend. He was making runs. Yeah, he was filling up that space when we had the ball and we were camped out on their box. But when we didn't have the ball, he'd drop further back. Then he'd make those runs on their right-sided centre-back, try and get him behind. Tarkowski played him a brilliant pass over the top as well after he'd scored his goal when he hit the post. It was just so much more effective. It looked like they'd actually all sat down together, and the manager with them, and said, look, here's what we're going to do. Here's what you do when we have the ball. Here's what you do when we don't have it.
He might have made a Brighton
performance.
He might have made a Brighton performance, saying it, watching it early on. Said to me dad early on, feels like Brighton the way this. We were cutting through. We could have had, you've just mentioned, we scored after, 6 or 7 minutes or something, and then we hit the crossbar with the Decore, and then Beto has a chance, and there's a couple where we've broken and we've made just the wrong choice at the last minute. But I thought what they did really well was, even when they were pegged back, when we should have been clear, they maintained for a loose 5 minutes after the goal where Lewis Potter should have scored the far post. But then they quickly got a grip of it again, and second half, they absolutely controlled the whole of the second half with ease and could have scored 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah, mental fragility has been a big issue for this squad for a while since we've started struggling. When we come under pressure, when we face adversity, they do often crumble, and we did have that little 5-minute period after we conceded, but they bounced back, they reassured themselves. Everything until we conceded was really good. It was crisp, it was quick. We'd play in little triangles on the pitch as well, not seen that in ages. just
confidence as well.
They're confident. That's it. They're confident they were in control. It looked quite second nature for them. There was a little period after we conceded where the panic seemed to settle in a little bit, but they got rid of that and they calmed down and they settled right back into the game. And that's what we've needed more from this Everton team. Be stronger in the face of adversity.
Because you're gonna have it, aren't you? There's every Premier League game you play. I was looking at just watched the highlights yesterday of the other Premier League games, and like Liverpool should have been 2-0 down in the first 10 or 15 minutes yesterday. Alisson's made a wonder save, tremendous save, my header, and then Michael Antonio, shouting his mouth off all week about how they're going to finish above Liverpool, misses a sitter, free header, things like that. They could have been 2 down. Looking at other games where you're looking at opportunities for teams, think, God, if they'd have scored. So you're going to have moments in Premier League games where you're under pressure. If you concede 1 goal, you've got to think, right, okay, it's not the end of the world. Everton, for too often, I've conceded a goal and gone, it's over. And I'm hoping that the return of the Dom and people like that, because Beto's there now and because they've got Nanjuma and they've got McNeil back and Harrison's on it. And then all of a sudden they're looking around the team, gone Decore. I think that's 7 goals now for Abdoulaye Decore since Sean Dyche come in. No Everton player scored more goals for Sean Dyche than him since Dyche come in. So I think if you're looking around that team, you think, we actually have got lads who can put the ball in the net now. So 1 goal shouldn't knock us off our stride. I'm hoping that was the birth of it on Saturday, that, okay, we were pegged back when we should have been clear. And it was dead easy. I don't know about you, but when that went in, I was thinking, here we go again. We should be clear. We've seen this at Sheffield. Newcastle yesterday showed Sheffield United's level. And that side scored 2 goals against us, and we've needed a world-class save at the end from the goalkeeper to get us a point in a game where the team just been done 8-0 a couple of weeks later. In that Sheffield United game, we scored, and we missed 2 opportunities for 2-0. So by the time they scored, we should have been clear. And on Saturday, it went 1-1, and you think we should be 2 or 3-0 up here, and they are level. But they stuck at it.
Yeah, well, it felt very sort of run-of-the-mill, didn't it? Decore has that chance. It's the crossbar.
Wasn't it 83 seconds between or something?
Yeah, less than 2 minutes later, they go and score and go, if we just took that chance, this game would be dead and buried. But we've had so many games like that, like you say. And that is the thing we sort of need to get around us as fans as well. We need to try and be more, no, come on, we can still win this. Obviously, with what we've seen so far this season, where we have been throwing these games away, don't blame anyone for being like, it's over, because I was like that. But the team especially need to be able to hold their heads up if they do face some adversity, if they do concede, and it's 1-1 when it should really be 2-0 Everton. They should be able to go, no, come on, we're better than these. Like, yeah, it should be 2-0, but it's only 1. But we'll just go through them again like we just did. We know we can cut through these like a hot knife through butter. We know we're making chances. Let's just take them.
It's got to, I think you've got to stay in it, and because you will often get... That was a thing under, again, we keep harking back to like David Moyes or whatever, but he did instill that thing in us, whereas even if you were 1-0 down the last 10 minutes, and if you got a goal, you'd think we can win it, and you'd go again, and it didn't always happen, but there was occasions where we'd score 2 late goals. One that comes right to the top of the head was Spurs. You were probably like nappies or something, but Spurs in 2012.
No, I remember, yeah.
But Spurs, we 1-0 down the 89th minute, and we get 2 goals and win 2-1 in injury time. And, I remember us being 3-1 down against United at home in injury time, and we scored twice, get a 3-3 draw and things like that. Whereas that's gone away from us because we haven't had enough of those occasions where we have turned the games around.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do.
It's fun fact, them goals against Tottenham were the 1,000th and 1,001st goals in Everton's history, apparently.
There you go then.
They released the DVD after
it. The DVD, which Liverpool fans I'm sure were made up with. But it is that kind of thing, isn't it? And the more resilience and the more that they do this regularly, they will get the buy-in from the fans, of course they will. And the fans are with them, but they do. If you're not winning games of football, you have to look at everything, and you do deserve criticism. It's the way it doesn't matter whether people are buying in or people are totally against it. Any team, any manager who's won 2 games in 16 will be under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any team that doesn't win enough games, the players will be questioned. So you have to build that, keep that going, get that mentality going. And Saturday for me was just a big marker. Now it was like, that's what you're capable of, lads. You scored 3, you could have got 5. 6 away at Brentford, who don't concede loads of goals and certainly don't lose many home games. You could have scored 5 or 6 goals in a game there. So if that doesn't give you confidence that when you're with, the 3rd goal, James Garner goes and presses the lad immediately, won't give it up and takes it off him, and then he's got great eye pass, great vision, and it's a lovely little finish. And that's what we need to see more of, don't we? And breaking a pace. There was often times at the weekend. There was one I'm thinking of where we're steaming and it's the wrong ball in the end, but we break and James Garner's sprinting. I think it's Michalenko, maybe, and he crosses it too early. If he'd have just took another touch, Dwight McNeil it was, sorry. If he'd have took another touch, he'd have been able to put it in front, and he hit it too early and it went behind people. But you could see 4 or 5 of us steaming into the box. That's what we have to be. That's what we have to break with, don't we?
Yeah, and one thing people have brought up a lot recently as well is sort of Everton's levels of chance creation, big chances created, XG and all that. I see all that and I look at it and think, well, that could be higher, because so often we haven't picked the right pass in these moments. We just haven't, the players haven't been quick on the feet enough, just for, do the obvious thing, play this quick and easy pass, it's the one to do.
Yeah.
James Garner, when he won that ball back straight away, slid it right into the path of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Lovely weighted pass, set him up brilliantly, and it makes it 3-1, and then it's in, no doubt then, is it?
That's
if it got to the last few minutes and it was 2-1 and Brentford started getting a couple of chances because we're just trying to see the game out.
Be honest though, when Dom scored and it was 3-1, there was still the long to, did you think it's over now? Because I didn't. Not that I was like terrified because we weren't under any pressure, but you are thinking nothing cheap, aren't you?
Yeah.
Don't give them any, because don't forget, again we'll get into this on the final word, but they have a huge chance literally 30 seconds after we go 2-1 up, and it's a block by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So we'll get into that on the final word, but you're right, the more of that is, can we start taking these teams apart, and can we keep confident enough to go, we've got more goals on us here, lads, keep it going.
The attacking talent's in the team, isn't it? And it has shown to a degree with the levels of chance creation we've made, but there hasn't been something to sort of solidify it. There's been nothing tangible to actually back it up, hasn't it? No. And, now we've won a game, people might look at the underlying numbers and go, yeah, see, there was never anything to worry about. We were always going to turn it round, and fair enough, but some teams do just keep underperforming, don't they? I'm not saying that's us, but it can be known to happen. So you do need some evidence to back it up as well. Something, some hard numbers, something you can almost reach out and grab, not just the underlying numbers. That's all great, but you need some real work and evidence that, sooner than later, this is going to materialise itself into actual numbers that matters, which is goals, clean sheets and points.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Branthwaite, another good performance from him. Being impressed with him since he got on the side. I think he's been tremendous.
Massively impressed, honestly. I'm really glad he got his chance in the team. I wanted him to come into the team since, the end of last season. I was thinking bring him in. And I get why people were apprehensive about it. He's not played at the highest level. He's a young lad. And the centre-back was a key position for us last season, especially in the run-in with Mina coming into the team. These big shoes to fill, literally. But he's such a talent, Branthwaite. I think, I don't want to get carried away, so...
You don't want to get carried away, but he's the new Maldini. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
it's basically as good as Maldini.
Yeah. If he plays as well for the full season as he's been playing, if he's had a much better season than John Stones did in his last Everton season before he moved for 50 million. If
he carries on the way he is, he'll probably cement himself as the greatest centre-back of all time. English centre-back of all time.
Yeah.
If he stays at this level.
That's right. I think, we probably have a town named after him.
For the goal.
Well, was he?
He was a fault.
Was he?
No, he was.
We'll have
without going out, I'm not going over.
No, we'll have a look at the goal.
He was technically a fault.
We'll have a look at the goal because we'll see he really is.
No,
I didn't think that running. Existed in the Premier League until Dwight McNeil showed me that it quite clearly did. I've had to watch it 5 times because he runs as if he's jogging and doesn't get closer than meter head in a it's incredible. It's incredible by Dwight.
No, but he gets caught in that moment because he chases the ball.
No, he chased the ball.
He shouldn't really chase. And I'm not having a go on him because I don't think he's
gonna make.
He's not at fault. He doesn't make a big glaring error. No. But he chases the ball out, and that's probably something.
There will be errors, won't there?
Yeah,
there's gonna. He's a young lad.
It's because him and Tarkowski got the wires crossed a bit, didn't he? Because he stepped out, and then he thinks Tarkowski's going behind him and the swapping sides.
Tarkowski goes more to the right when he should really go to the left, but. There will be little errors in there, but I think them two as a partnership are really developing. And you look and go, tell you what, if we can keep these two fit, we'll be all right. Although one worry though, and bring Ped in on this as well. One worry is his third booking in 3 games, 2 more, and it's a suspension. And you're gonna have to be careful with that, isn't he? Because it was a cheap booking as well.
If he got booked in the next 2 games, he'd missed the Merseyside derby. Then yes, that is a worry. That is a worry.
But it was a cheap one, wasn't it? I've seen people say, "No, we didn't touch him. He pulled the lad back. It was a booking. It was a booking." I think
that is an indication of being caught and taking the easy way out, which is obviously fouling somebody.
That is the experience, isn't it?
That's it, isn't it? It's knowing. It's putting yourself in a situation, and I suppose in a way. You look at it and think, well, would you rather he made the mistake and sort of got the booking and it's dealt
defended
with,
it, yeah.
Or would you rather see almost like what happened on Saturday when he made a little mistake and then the play continues and it doesn't cost us a goal, but it creates the space because Mykolenko and Dwight McNeil maybe not switched on at that moment. But it is what it is, isn't it? Listen, if he gets the next 2 and he's out for the Merseyside derby, so be it.
I don't think he'll get booked in the next 2.
No, you think Dyche shall have a word and just be like, look, try and,
It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's not his bookings as well. There was one.
His first one
was
quite
Sheffield
light.
United one where he got booked and there was nothing in it. It was terrible.
That was the one where he went through him, won the ball in Sheffield United. He won the ball and he took him out, didn't he, on the edge of the box?
But didn't he get the ball?
But he did. But he also took the man, and you just can't.
There's defo one booking he's had where it was a shot. It was a terrible decision.
Who did he first come in against?
He came in at home to Wolves.
I think it
might have been the Wolves one, where someone would be able to tell us better. There was one though where I was thinking that was never a booking.
No, I think the one against Sheffield United is one of those ones where you think, God, how's he been booked for that? But in the modern game and all its nonsense, and it's handballs and it's whatever else.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah, the worry is if he does get suspended, that who comes in for him.
But
soon may the keg
we know he'll come in.
Yeah.
We know
who comes in. It's just fine. It is what it is. We have to all deal with it. Matt Seddon says, get in. James Wallen says, what a difference a week makes. Think we still need to get the 2 home wins to get a 4 points in every 3 games average, giving us a free hit at Denler. How good is it having 2 strikers? Now the advantage against the middle to lower teams will hopefully see us win more of those games than draw and lose. It was the quality, I thought. It's just too often. I mean, I'll be honest, I was a little bit disappointed Beto was coming off. I understand why he did it. But then when you see Dom, you're like, well, yeah, that's fine. It's Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's coming on. And Dom come on and just seemed, he was up, you could see. Again, you never ever get ahead of yourself because he's had a terrible time with injuries. He just looked freer when he come on. He just looked like he's like fit and he feels like he's fit, you know what I mean? And we have to remember that the reason why he's been out was a facial injury. It wasn't anything to do with his,
wasn't muscular.
It was a goalie's shoulder which knocked him out of it, and that'll do him. That was just made up for him when he scored. Obviously made up for us, but I'm delighted it was Dom who scored the goal because he's needed that. And I think it was great for the fans need that because they need to believe in him again. You know what I mean? And to bring that kind, and even bringing people like Dan Juma on. And always like he is frustrating. There was one where we had a breakaway and he done really well and he got up to the edge of the box and there's runners either side of him and he holds on to it too long and a tackle comes in. It's like, just lay it off and then the chances are you get yourselves into space, you'll get it back. It's those little moments, but even having a player like him to come off the bench with that ability is a good thing as well.
Yeah, well, now our players are getting fitter as well. We've got people going back from injury. We are getting more options as well. You know, we've got a little bit of selection headache for next week as well, because if Harrison's getting his fitness up and we want him involved and we want 2 natural wingers on the pitch, that's okay. Which of these midfielders do you drop? Because Garner was great. Onana, I thought I had a good game, especially the first
Onana
half.
did, yeah.
Yeah, Decore took his goal well.
Decore, he was to be
Wednesday
fair.
takes away that though, doesn't it? Wednesday takes away
Wednesday.
Yeah,
But do you reckon he'll play like Keane and Godfrey on Wednesday, or do you think he'll try to keep the momentum going? Because they won't. They've got 4 games in 9
I think
days.
Tarkowski will drop out. I'd play Branthwaite personally because I think I think he should play every game. I really do. But then you have got Jack Harrison available. You have got Dan Juma available to play on the left. Dom could
Maybe.
start.
Yeah.
Garner could go in midfield. Take Adissa Garner Gay out.
Yeah. That's
where those options are.
yeah.
That's where it's coming.
And
really
they're not
good
massive drop-offs, are they? Do you know what I mean? You're not
definitely
going, we'll just won't be the same if you do that and
time.
that.
Let them fight it out. Do you know what I mean?
That's what you want, don't
That's
you?
what you want.
You want that,
He'll get more out of
There's
them.
Andre, I know, there's people are laughing here, but there's still like people like Andre Goldman. He's going to be here till January, isn't he? So therefore, if he's going to be here till January, then he's got to, there might be games where you want someone to control or keep hold of the ball for you a little bit.
So why are you playing him then?
Because that's the one thing he can do. He can't run, but that's the one thing he can do. But them kind of people come into the squad as well, don't they? And I'm sure the manager will be looking at that and going, well, can we get anything out of him?
Yeah, I don't think Sean Dyche should be particularly looking forward to maybe using Gomez, but...
No, I don't think he sat there going,
Gomez time.
he's almost fit.
No, but, if he works hard in training and looks like he's up for it and tries to learn the system, he will get a chance, and then it's on him, isn't it? And then he joins the fight, then he throws his name in the hat. So, yeah, it's good to have these options. It's a thin squad, but the ability to drop off to the ones on the bench, not in the first team, it's not massive.
I look at the squad, around the thing, and some other teams are thin. People go to thin, because in your eyes, in your own mind, you're going, we want world-class players, or good, in our case, you want good players in every position. There's loads of clubs who don't have that. There's loads of clubs when you look, but they generally stay fit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. The teams generally are quite fit, and they get a couple of injuries, but they're all right. Whereas we look at everything and we go, he's not good enough, and he's not good enough, and he's not good enough. But you don't look at other clubs and go, they're bringing on Shandon Baptiste, he's not good enough for the Premier. You just see a player coming on and you go, who's this, or whatever. You'd always analyse your own squad. Jurgen Klopp goes on about them going, they haven't got a strong enough squad. Well, they've got 5 strikers who all score goals, don't they? And things like that. And you speak to them and they're like, well, wish we had another centre-back and I wish we had another midfielder. And you're going, yeah, but they're all wishful thinking, aren't they? If you can keep 15 or 16 players fit and they're a decent level, all of them, you will have fillers in your squad, of course you will. We haven't got enough money to have, as we all know, to have world-class players everywhere. So,
if we had world-class players, they wouldn't be on the bench, would
Exactly. You know what I mean? Good, let's rejig that to average to good players. Moyes used to do it with 13 bloody thing, you know what I mean? But we do have to, listen, it feels great, and we've won a game, but we've won one game of football. That's what we can't lose sight of, and I'm not trying to be negative today because it isn't a day for that. It's a day to feel good because it does feel really good. But we've only won one game in 6, haven't we? So we have to remember that. But if we can follow it up with the 2 home wins, and both games will be tough for their own reason. Bournemouth are a tough side to play against. Luton got their first point of the season at the weekend, so they'll feel a little bit more confidence. But they absolutely have to be wins. Because if Everton don't win both of them, say Everton draw the next 2, then the pressure's right back on the manager and the players and the position we're in the league. Because if we didn't, we'll have played Fulham, Wolves, Luton, Bournemouth. If we haven't...
Sheffield United.
If we haven't won, a few of those games, then we will be in trouble because the games become more difficult, don't they? Whereas it's a great win at the weekend. Brentford won't be turned over too many times at home, I don't imagine. We've got to build on that now. And if we can follow that up, forget about Villa. Villa in the cup, it's a one-off, obviously. It's a cup game. And great if you win it. We can talk about momentum then. If we get beat, we can just go, well, it was a cup game. So it's almost one of them games that just sits in the middle, isn't it? But the 2 home games in the league are key now. And if Everton could come out of them with 6 points, and it's because we've not done it too often. But if we could, then you would going into that international break before the derby, be sat on 10 points. You'd be going, that, you know what? That's turned into not a bad start. That really be, what would we have? 10 points from 8 games.
Yeah.
It's not a great return, but it's not a terrible return.
It's a comfortable, quiet, mid-table return,
exactly,
isn't it, if you maintain that? And yeah, I completely get what you're saying, Baz. You're right. We've won one game, so, you know, we're not out the woods yet by any means. But what I will say as well is that we've had some games this season which are strong performances, bad results, because we had so many of them, and then mixed with just bad performances as well. You know, the confidence was gone. Now we've actually shown we can win a game and play intelligently and work hard and actually take our chances. I can look at those games that we didn't win but played well in and probably should have won with a bit more confidence now and go, okay, like, this isn't the only time. On Saturday, the team have played to a decent level. They can do it. Just need to take the chances, which they did in the most recent game. So let's maintain that. Carry it into these games. Take some points off, you know, the teams we expect to sort of be around us as well. And then, 10 points from 8 games. It's a healthy start. We're
looking for a period of stability, aren't we? So, you know, whether people like the manager or don't like the manager or whatever, the reality, the best solution for everybody is we just win games of footy, and the noise can die down from everywhere. Then, can't it? Because Everton need, and this including and I love the way you turned up looking a bit like Josh Wonder today. I think that's excellent, and given what's going on with 777. I think for everyone, including that, we just need a period of stability. Evertonians need a break in the life. We need to be able to just bob along and win games of footy like this and enjoy and just let everything calm down so we can get rid of a bit of PTSD from the last 2 seasons, which are all, even the manager was talking about it the weekend going, this has been going on for, and I know, but he's right, in a way he's right. It's that some of these plays, this has just been a perpetual circle of shite since Benitez came in, hasn't it? And we're all battle weary with it, and that's why we need, if we can get just a few wins and everything can calm down, you can just go, and then you start to evaluate everything as it happens. You're not burnt with, this has gone on for too long and all of that. We need all that. We need that bit of calmness, don't we?
It's been crisis mode for 2 years, hasn't it? Let's make this peacetime. Now, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to go on and do anything special, but let's just fly under the radar. Do what Brentford do every season, just to, you know, a mid-table finish. Crystal Palace as well. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these clubs because I'd love what they've done over the last few years. I'd love to be there.
Not being in any kind of relegation trouble isn't being disrespectful.
Oh, no, absolutely. I just, when I'm saying, you know, be under the radar, not do too much, I'd love that. Let's just, you know, pick up a few scalps and that, like we did at the weekend, you know, a few good wins and just a nice, safe, comfortable season. I'd love that.
If we got stability, the takeover happens, we start to try to set a plan moving forward, and then we start seeing change. I think a big thing will be when the new board's put in place with this takeover. It'll be a totally different board, and we start moving forward. I think fans will feel better as well. And then if we can just be stable and we can get to the stadium in a bit of period of stability, I think that does give everybody a chance to reset then and go, right, you know, we're feeling better about our football club. But we'll only get that by winning enough games of football, because every time you lose a game, you feel under pressure because we haven't started well. You know, we should be sat here talking about when we beat Wolves and when we beat Fulham, but we didn't. So it doesn't matter if you play great or you look back and go, we should have won 5-0 today, but we got beat 2-0. If you keep getting beat 2-0 when you should have won 5-0, something's not right. So we have to maintain it now, and we've done. It's Goodison's the problem for this manager. His away form, actually, when you look at it, isn't terrible. Really, he's got points, and we've won a couple of games on the road. He's picked up points. We've scored goals away. It's at home. It's at home, isn't it? And we have to. And it was an issue for Frank Lampard, and it was an issue for Rafa Benitez, an issue for Carlo Ancelotti. Actually,
that's because of the way he sets up the team, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the way he sets up the team. He doesn't set it up attacking enough to be at home. That performance on Saturday was completely 100% different from the performance against Arsenal. We were in the faces from the first minute. We had a plan. Even when we conceded, we kept doing and that's what it should have been against Arsenal. Forget about the consequences. That's what it should have been. It should be like that every single week.
It was like if the Everton kind of went out with that kind of attitude and game plan at Goodison every time, like they did at the weekend. Win, lose or draw, I think most Evertonians would go, we've had a right good go there. That's what Brentford
got stuck into them.
Brent, you could see Thomas Frank come on at the end and you could see they're disappointed because they probably think they'd win that game. But there'll be no crisis there. They'll do exactly the same the next game, probably with a bit more intensity.
He said before the game on Sky, they asked him what his approach is, and he said, "We'll be in on them straight away, in the faces." And we did what they said they were going to do. It's got to be like that at Goodison. We let teams come, we let them settle down, and we let them find a rhythm, and then we don't punish them when we get our opportunities, so they grow in confidence. We've got to be at these teams straight away. He's got to have more ambition at home, and Lampard was the same. This is why a lot of fans are despondent with the situation, or have been, because they only go home games. They pay money to go, and they get given football that doesn't suit what we want. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think if you can create that intensity and have a right good go with everyone, like I said, win, lose or draw, I think most people will come away going, we've had a good go there. That's why sometimes you get beat at home and you get clapped off the pitch when they've had a right good go for it, because you go, you know what, we went at it there.
Well, how many grounds in the country would respond as well to that performance on Saturday as Goodison would have? We love that type of football, don't we? The intensity and that. I don't think as a fan base we're particularly bothered about possession.
800 passes and all that.
Yeah, it starts from the back and we move. I think we just want to see an intense, sort of frightening performance.
We want an attack team, don't we?
With that attack and intent, that's all we want to see. That performance on Saturday, that just sort of type of style, that tactic. That's what I want to see every week. And some weeks it won't work, especially against the better sides. But it'll do us well enough against the teams around us to get enough points.
And the crowd will stay with them. If you go, it seems, the crowd will stick with you. And that's what it comes down to. Martin Kitney says, we won a game of footy, competed, got stuck in and didn't let Ashley Young take a corner. Great feeling on a Monday after a win. Even a Daily Mail article selling all our players can't get me down today. That's standard, isn't it? Up the Toffees, they love it. Gary Ward says, howdy. Everton Viking says, finally, but this is just one win. The 2 home wins now are a must. And also I've gone from thinking 777 won't happen at all to thinking it probably will happen. Whether that's bad or good, I don't know. Possibly good in the short term in terms of basic cash flow, but long term, no idea. None of us have we? Let's just hope they've got a plan. That's the biggest thing. David says, morning gents, what a difference. A dub winks. And oh my, DCL looked dominant in everything he did. Jared and Garner were class. Deitch made me eat my words after I saw the starting lineup, and I would like Garner to stop shooting. I want him to shoot more. He might get one right, mightn't he? His shots aren't particularly great, but he might get one right. He should shoot from further out. I've noticed that. Well, PSG scored a couple of worldies from about 40 yards, so I think he's getting too close because he can only blammer it. So just blammer it from by the halfway line, see what happens.
There was a point in time where he scored our only goal from outside the box of the season. It was on the last day of the season as well. We were at home. Can't remember who we were playing. I think it was Koeman's first year. We hadn't scored from outside the box all season. And then on the last day, Garner scored one from just outside. So I don't know where it's gone.
And it was Tom Davis, you mean?
It was by Christmas. 28th of December.
Last game of the season, we do 1-1. It was last minute equaliser. It was Tom Davies, took a massive deflection.
No, that was Sam Allardyce's one. He's talking about Koeman.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's talking Koeman's one. Koeman under Garner, we beat Southampton 3-0 at home and he scored from the edge. He got cut back and he swept it into the roof of the net.
Yeah, that's the one.
He hasn't scored many, don't forget.
No. It's not his game, is it?
No. I don't mind him shooting, just shoot him a bit further out. Because then it might dip. Jimmy the Bear says, good to get a win, good to see some effort. I still have no idea what we are trying to do tactically. Also, it wouldn't surprise me if we get pumped by Luton in our next match. I can't bring myself to be optimistic anymore. I thought on Saturday they looked like they did know what they were doing. I thought they had a more defined plan on Saturday. And Beto makes a big difference. And Decore, he was at times he was almost in a 4-4-2. He was almost alongside Beto, but because Beto's a handful now, what he's doing is people are realising you've got to go tight to him, which means the space where when it was, again, without being disrespectful to Mopai, or even when it was Damari Gray, defenders weren't worried about him. They were just like, yeah. Whereas Beto, you can see they're looking and thinking, this fella's big and strong. And...
Yeah, but credit to Decore as well. It was employed effectively. You know, he did it when it was smart. He didn't linger there for too long if he didn't have to be there. It was just well coached, wasn't it? You know, he had a better understanding of when to make those runs, when to take up that space.
Definitely. Garth Crooks included this from Bobby Tarkovsky and Decore in his team of the week. But he wrote that after Brentford equalised, they had Everton on toast. Garth Crooks doesn't know what day it is. Jez says the opening statement from Jack about the healing definitely needs to be made into a clip I listen to on repeat. I feel weird.
But you could listen to it like as you wake up every morning to sort of inspire you for the
heal
day.
Everyone.
Feel zen.
Fair play. Fair play.
Could be a life coach.
You could be. You've got the hat on. Everton Viking says, to be fair, everyone knows I can't stand Dyche, but we outplayed them and shut them down and stopped them from being able to do the things they do well. I think people go OTT with the hate of Michalenko, to be honest. I think he's an okay left-back, but people are spoiled from Dean and Baines. He's all right, and when the team plays better, so does he. Yeah, I mean, we did have to. Baines was unreal, and then Dean come in and was fine. See his volley on Saturday, Sunday, keep him made a worldie, but he just...
Yeah, it's
lovely
different to
footballer,
what we've
could
had. Michalenko, isn't he? Different style as well. Before you even get into the ability straight away, he was sort of going to be judged a little bit harsher because people have fell in love with these attacking left backs, haven't they?
Great when if your full backs can play though. I love it, but he is what he is. No point going, oh my God, he's not this, he's not that. He is what he is. Mark Mack says, I was out the country, so missed the game. Oh, mate. Wondering how Onana's performance was, as I think over the last few games I thought he was awful. Sounds like a great performance though, and think the key part of this season will be the centre-back staying fit, as we do have other options across the pitch if others get injured. Onana was good, and he was good because he sat in the number 6. The goal, I've got me question marks over his positioning for the goal, to be fair. However, in general, I thought he was very good. I think he's just better sitting in the number 6 position and letting Garner, because Garner presses much better than Onana does. And James Garner, to be fair, was excellent. Came in and was excellent. So fair play to him as well. Derek says, as Ancelotti said, this is a team with two faces. Yeah. Andy says, 2 of Beto's flick-ons came from Branthwaite passes. One led to a corner for the goal and the other led to a McNeil shot that just went wide. Small stuff like this wins you football matches. Absolutely spot on, Andy. The one that led to the McNeil one, which he should he have done better? I think he should hit the target, but it's unlucky. But he stood, didn't he, with his arm, the strength of him, just a little flick into the path. And that's at 1-0. Dwight steers that in off the far post. It's 2-0. They're chances. And you're right, then. He's absolutely right. Them moments, you're in. You can be 2 or 3-0.
And that's the way you can just transition so quickly, isn't it? You know, your centre-back plays a good, accurate pass to your big striker who's good at flick-ons. You can move it on. You're not going to win a game just off that, but it's another tool in your arsenal,
it's a way to open a team up,
it's another weapon.
Absolutely. Can I just give credit to John Blaine's filming as well for the Tarkovsky goal, by the way? Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Almost like he had a premonition we were going to score off a corner.
There's about 27 million videos on his phone of us not scoring, isn't there?
But that one was tremendous.
Why is my memory filled up?
Yeah. Jonathan says, I know we shouldn't change a winning teams, and I'm not too fussed about the cup but against Luton, would you drop Garner? Sorry, who would you drop to get Garner on centre mid where he should be playing? No one, because why should he be playing in centre midfield? Like just at the moment, that's the problem. Because people will talk about Idrissa, and he was loose twice early on Saturday, and it led to 2 attempts at goal from them. But overall, he was excellent. His passing was 93% passing accuracy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, his numbers are unbelievable. No one's won the ball, but there's a stat today. No one's won the ball more in the final third than Idrissa Gana Gay, even more than Rodri.
I had to sort of address this after the game. Like, people see those 2 moments, and I know they were bad, and I know he does that. but his numbers are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They really are.
Everton without him in that midfield would be walked
function,
all over.
We showed against Doncaster.
Yeah.
We don't function the same. And what it's a case of is James Garner. Like Wednesday would be a perfect opportunity for Garner to come in.
Have a look, yeah.
But he's got to get to that level, and he hasn't been in that level, and that's the thing. There's a lot of this of like just someone has a good game or people perceive. I seen people saying on Saturday night that they thought Onana was rubbish. Onana's numbers were ridiculous, and it was you could tell in the game.
It's like I knew Tarkovsky was man of the match without looking at his numbers. When I've looked at his numbers, and every other thing has given him comfortably man of the match, Tarkovsky. For everything he did, you can watch and go, he's played brilliant.
I think there might be moments where Idrissa Gana Gay, there will be a time, but it's not now. He's like, even in the first half, like people weren't talking about the ball he put in for Beto. For like the run, he was breaking the lines and he played that ball.
He was
perfectly.
One of the few who created a big chance.
Exactly, and Beto, unlucky, you could see what he was trying to do. He just got it wrong.
He should have dinked it. He was trying to sweep it. He should have just clipped it.
If
he'd have clipped it,
once.
He's 3/4 3 minutes.
With Guay, he had 3 moments in that game that frustrated people. One of them was the shot. That shouldn't mean he's had a bad game. It's just something people feel like they've got sick of mentioning, and it feels like it always happens. And then there was the 2 chances you mentioned. Overall, over 90 minutes, he did a lot of good stuff.
There's too much of this, like, he was absolutely terrible because he made a couple of mistakes. Like, he did make a couple of mistakes, and that will happen. It'll happen. It's probably always happened with him. But he's still a really, like, good midfielder for what he does.
You'll get to a stage where you
have a crossover, won't you?
You'll have a crossover and he'll come out, and then people will start longing for a midfielder to do what he does.
We did for 3 years.
We did for 3 years.
Wins the ball back.
We had someone for 3 people do it with Ross Barkley, you know. Wish we had someone to travel with the ball, but yeah, Ross Barkley did it all the time for us and scored 8 goals and got like 6 and 7 assists, and everyone hated him. Doesn't know what he's doing, can't pick a pass. You're like, when he's gone, you'll realise that he does a bit, and let's not do that with Garner. Yeah, he is sloppy, and he frustrated me twice, and one of them on Saturday was ridiculous, just arsing about with the ball, but he does so much good work. I don't think we're at a situation where we go, we've got to force James Garner into midfield. Because I'll be honest, Saturday was Garner's best game for Everton Football Club. James Garner, I'm talking about. Best game. Other times he's been in midfield, I've looked and gone, he's confident and he wants the ball, but there's been games that have passed him by, and he played centre mid against Doncaster, and he was off, like properly awful. Couldn't get hold of the ball because they were just all over him. A League 2 team who had an injury crisis were all over him. Garner come on at half time and turn the game in Everton's favour. So there's levels, but James Garner
it's about growing, isn't it?
Is about growing, and Saturday he'll have done him the world of good. Brilliant for the 3rd goal, winning it. Great through ball. And when he develops, hopefully he will take Idrissa's place. That's what you're looking for, but he ain't there yet. So I wouldn't be taking him out.
Well, for that 3rd goal, he did everything in about a 5-second period. You won from midfielder, won it back and played a forward pass. Now it's about making that into a performance. In 90 minutes of that sort.
He was good. He was good on Saturday. It was his best game for Everton.
See it more often.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. Dan says, I'm still not on the Dyche train, but the result shows this team can do more, and they must do more going forward. David Green says we have to back it up now with 2 home wins. Nothing else will do. Yeah, the Blues says Onana was incredible. People just expect him to be an eye-catching talisman. That's it, isn't it? Because he does a lot of stuff. There was one where they broke and he sprinted back and put the tackle in. It was brilliant. It was a brilliant tackle.
When he put it out for the corner.
Yeah, it was a tremendous tackle, and people are like, they want him to get it as if he's like Zidane or whatever. He's just not. He's a big lad who can get around the pitch. He's got a nice passing range. Can he get on the ball a little bit more? Yeah, definitely. And I do think sometimes he should eat up that space in front of the back 2, the 2 centre backs. Playing him in the 6 and leaving him there will make him go bang, 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 bang through the levels. Absolutely. People just need to accept what he is. Right now, he's a young lad learning about the Premier League. I know he's in his 2nd season, but he's been moved all over the place. Put him in the 6 and go, you're on number 6. Let Idrissa Gana Gay be the 8 who presses, and then for now it's Decore. And I thought Decore was terrible against Arsenal. but his defensive numbers were brilliant. But as an offensive player, which is what we need him for, he was dreadful. He didn't have an attempt at goal. And yet on Saturday, he was outstanding and was a difference maker. So it's just, it is.
I think he had about 70 touches, Onana, if I remember rightly, from Saturday.
Ghana.
I wasn't counting them.
No.
Onana, but that's like...
Well, it's Risha Gay.
That's like twice as many as he normally has. He normally only has like 35 to
Risha Gay had 40, completed 40 passes out of 43, I think.
But Onana,
and
that
two
shows
of them
the
were the
difference
chances that he gave away.
But that shows the difference in playing in that position and controlling the game is 70 touches, whereas some games, it does pass him by when he's only having 35 touches. So in the last two games, there's been a change of position for him. The Arsenal game, I thought he just stood there, like I said last week.
The Blues had the most touches of all Everton players on Saturday.
Yeah. And last week against Arsenal, he was just like a telephone pole in the middle of the pitch, wasn't he? He just never got over the ball.
Because we sat though.
No, that's what was disappointing. Whereas in this game, that was the difference, is that he had a lot of the ball and kept it really neat.
And the Blues again says he did exactly what I want from my DM. Nice and simple. And also he won the most duels on the pitch. Exactly.
More often than not, he was winning it back and trying to play a forward pass as well, wasn't he?
James says Onana's like Daddy Longlegs. That's tackling, phenomenal at winning the ball back. It's exactly what it is, isn't it? I think we all just need to relax a little bit and go, look, we've got players. What's really good is having players you look at now and go, where does he get in? How does he get into the team? That's what you want, because that means you've got more than 11 players, don't it? If you pick your 11 and that's it, and the manager's picking it and you go, and there's no one who's banging the door down to get in, your squad ain't very good. That's when you look down and you start getting worried now.
And that's when your players plateau as well. Exactly. There's no one challenging them.
You look now and go, I've seen Dom saying like Beto's been great. Now you'd think he's gutted. Seen Chimiti at the end of the game. Like that with the fan. You want all that, don't you? You want them players who've just come in to go, I'm part of something here. But Chimiti could easily be stood there going, I've left Sporting here to come in. I'm third. I can't, you know what I mean? And you want that. You want Danjuma going, I've got to work hard to get on the pitch. You want Jack Harrison now going, I want to be part of it. You want other players. Nathan Patterson I need to get back in here now at right back. Seamus will add to that when he's back. That's what
Ghana comes out the team. Like, you've got competition for places, haven't you? The ability to drop off isn't that bad.
No, we've had that.
We lose two of our midfield. Possibly two of our midfielders come January as well.
Exactly. So Carl says Champions League, here we come. Paul Power, great player, says a great win at the weekend, lads. Try not to be negative, but Miko was not good enough. In my opinion, the Brentford goal could have been prevented if he switched on. You need to have a look at Dwight McNeil in this as well, honestly.
It's for Young. We'll get into it more later, won't we? But
Conrad says, watching while I wait to go for an endoscopy.
Nice.
Oh, okay, Conrad. Well, I hope you're all
up or down?
Up. I hope your everything is all right, mate. Good luck. Evan Viking says, let's not go overboard and give him the manager's excuses for the nonsense he chats. All right, I'm going to try to stick away from that. It feels good, and he deserves credit for the weekend we won. Jay Radcliffe says up the Toffees. It was Dom right to subtly call out the fans afterwards?
Yes, 100%.
What did he 100%. say? I haven't listened to him. What
did he say? These fans booed me when I got took off against Villa.
Now they're cheering me, I'll take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, and then he said, but I know that it comes from a place of caring. He was absolutely
He's right, yeah.
And he's not even said particularly much there, has he? He's only said factual things.
You would be. If you're a player there,
said more,
if you're a player and your face is smashed in like it was a Villa, and you're getting booed by some people when you're going off, then the minute you score a goal and you see people singing and cheering, you're going to feel like, nice one, you were booing me the other week. You're going to feel a bit like that, aren't you? The other side to it, though, is it's an emotional game, and our fans are fucking beaten down with a stick, aren't they? So everything, they're on a coiled spring with everything, aren't they?
And it goes both ways, doesn't it? You have the lows like that, but then when they back them and they're behind them, it's like it was on the weekend. It's such an emotional relationship.
And they've kept them up for 2 seasons as well. There is that little thing, by the way. But yeah, fair play to him.
Booing someone for having a broken cheekbone is dead weird.
No, that
is dead weird.
Absolutely ridiculous. Benjamin says, good to see we're a threat from corners again. Absolutely. Because McNeil was taking them, wasn't he? Joe Mack says Garner scored again. Oh, Sunderland was it? Pickford in goal. Didn't that take it? Was it Sunderland?
Sunderland went down that year.
No, we beat Lukaku scored, got played through it and clipped it over Pickford at the Gladys Street to make it 2-0. I remember that. Garner scored the first one. Steve P says, Baz, on what you said the other day, do people actually moan about you charging £3.50 for Premier? That's bizarre to me. The cheapest therapy on the planet. And for two, do they think you're making a killing from YouTube? No. Well, I don't know if they do, but we're certainly not. Exactly, yeah. Don't people realise that unless you're making hundreds of thousands of views for each video, you're barely making anything from it? Yeah, if we were Mr. Beast, it'd be sound, but we're not. On what planet does that make sense? £3.50 is a steal. It's cheaper than a co-op meal deal. Once you go Premier, you never go back. Nice one, Steve. It is cheaper than a co-op meal deal because I've just got one before and it was £4 something.
What did you get?
I've got a tuna and sweet corn sandwich, bit of protein on malted bread.
Disappointing. I'm slightly disappointed in you, but
okay. I've got a Mars bar, which I shouldn't really be getting, but it did, and a drink.
What's the drink?
Dr. Pepper Zero.
Oh, not bad. Not bad.
Slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, but I don't have it every day. I don't have it. I've got Huel tomorrow. I've got Huel tomorrow in the fridge. I've bought them. My Huel drinks in the fridge for tomorrow, and I've also got me bagel. Actually, no, me bagel tomorrow. The reason why I've got it, just for boring's sake, the reason why I've got a meal deal is because the Redmen filmed for 71 hours now on a Monday because they were jealous we done loads of filming. So I can't go out to where the toaster is and toast me bagel.
Why didn't you
at
get
some stage?
Why didn't you be cheaper just to buy a toaster in here? It would be.
I wouldn't want a bagel
We've got
every day.
A kitchen now in here, basically.
I wouldn't want a bagel every day. Right, we're going.
Get what I'm on.
We'll be on at 2:05 on More Than a Game. Pedal put the magical super worm.
Ned's already done it.
Oh, Ned's done it.
Listen, credit.
Yeah. Ned is done it. Ned,
I'm focused on
the man,
the speed link,
the myth, the legend. Ned,
you say that
has got the super wormhole magical link ready for you. So don't go anywhere. Just get your drink and be ready to discuss all other Premier Leagueness. Do it.
Nearly all
grown up. His birthday's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So get ready to wish
Ned
the
a happy
Ned
birthday.
man happy birthday.
Yeah,
or Yippee Yad trip
it's
if you want to do
week.
backwards.
Yeah.
He's in
though I feel bad for his parents because they did expect him to be married and out the house by now.
Absolutely.
So slightly disappointed.
If anyone in the comments wants to marry Ned, just send in your applications.
Yeah, you do need an application and it will be looked over.
We will judge the best candidates.
Just make a show out of it. Right.
It's all good, isn't it?
There you go.
It's all good.
Big thanks to Otter on the super chat. You didn't say anything.
Oh, where is it? I didn't see
You
it.
didn't say not. He just give us, looks like $2 Australian.
Otter or Otter, thank you very much. Have you? Oh yeah, it's just put. Come on, everyone, hit the likes. Thank you very much, mate. Just seeing if there's any more comments from underneath. But thank you very much for that super chat. So stay where you are, and we'll discuss a lot of goodness that was in the Premier League over the weekend as well. So check the little super wormhole link, style, Stargate, whatever, anything else you want to make Stranger Things references. We'll see you in a minute.